doing, Singapore? All right, well, thank you everyone for coming in. I feel like this is sort of the first day of Token 2049, but we have our side event as always, so thank you for showing up for that. And today we're talking about Mysticeti with Aftermath and Agora. So I'm gonna jump right in, we don't have a lot of time. Would you please spend a brief moment to introduce yourself and your project?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Angelo, core dev in Aftermath Finance. I guess I can describe it as a one-stop shop for DeFi on Sui. So we covering most of the verticals on Sui, like AMMs, routing, and we have a lot of products. I think the last talk we had was dynamic gas, which will come in, we'll connect later. And I'm working on the Perpetuals side. And
we're going to tie all that into Mysticeti.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Nick.
I'm Nick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Agora. We've launched an institutional grade stable. And what we do is we work with businesses, so those could be dApps, exchanges, fintechs, where we share revenue with them based on services that they provide to us, like listing the token, marketing it. So our view is that you should reward all businesses that participate in your monetary network versus having a singular model like an exchange-backed stablecoin.
I love that business model. In a world where we have so many dollar stablecoins right now, I think that your model really sets you apart from all the rest of all the others. So
I think it's that. It's also the banking, right? It's really hard to get institutional grade banks to support US dollar stablecoins. And so State Street is our cash custodian and fund admin. They're one of the 3 largest banks in the world. So the assets are secure and safe with them.
Fully agree. Okay, so then how long have you guys been building on Sui, and why did you just decide to build on Sui?
Well, Aftermath has been like almost 2 years, like since the inception of the chain.
Yeah.
And for us, it was definitely the strong technicals. And as we're going to talk about, like Mysticeti now just makes it the fastest blockchain in the world. I think we're going to talk about the details later, but I think on most of the aspects that are important for a smooth trading experience that's competitive with a centralized venue, I think Sui's an order of magnitude better than most other chains. Yeah, it's all other chains. Yeah.
No, yeah. I like that.
I would say my thesis is that blockchain is going to eat all of financial services and payments, and that's really what's going to take us from the industry that we are today to the multi-trillion-dollar industry that we'll see in 10, 20 years. And it was a combination of things. So one, the tech is just exceptional. Obviously, the team. But if you really want to eat finance and payments, you need to have high throughput and low latency. We'll chat about the technicals with Mysticeti in a bit, but that was one of the main reasons. And then 2, just the experience with the Myst and Labs team. We've interacted with all of the largest foundations and teams in crypto, and it was just clear that you were one of the top 3 teams in terms of execution, and that compounds over the long term, and so that's why we were so excited to work with you all so early in our life cycle. We started the business 10 months ago, deployed on ETH 2 months ago, but already on Sui, and excited for what's to come here.
Yeah, you guys just officially launched a few weeks ago.
We did. So
you made the announcement of KBW.
Yep, made the announcement of KBW. We've already started to roll out on the dApps. Liquidity's moving on as well, and so you'll start to see a lot of liquidity pick up across applications on the chain, and also some of the not just DeFi focused business, but payments and other businesses that we'll be working with as well.
Right, and I think it's important to call out why stablecoins are really important in DeFi. It's really one of the fundamental building blocks for trading in general. So shifting gears a little bit to talk about perps, perpetuals.
Yes.
Angelo, can you just give us a very basic 101? What is perps trading in crypto? How does it differ to perps trading in the regular world?
Well, in the TradFi world, you have future contracts, which is basically you buy the rights to buy a derivative at a certain point in the future.
Correct.
Whereas perpetual futures is different. It's kind of like it has no settlement date. So it works kind of like you own the asset, but you don't really have the underlying asset. So it's a way that you can bet on the direction of an asset without actually owning it, and that allows you to have leverage, which is really important. And perpetual futures really only took off in crypto, right? Things like BitMEX, Binance, of course, is very popular, and now we're trying to bring it on chain so that it can be trustless and
democratizing different financial products that other potentially users didn't have access to prior to that. So I think it's very exciting.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so then on that front, do you think there's anything missing right now in perpetuals from a crypto standpoint?
I see. From a developer kind of, from a builder standpoint.
From a builder standpoint, yes.
It will definitely having an actual decentralized venue that can support the type of activity and user experience that Perpetual's DEX, like you want to be, because you're not really competing against other DEXs, right? You're competing against like the Binances of the world, right? So you want something that's fast, that has low gas fees, that is censorship resistant because it's transparent, it's permissionless, so you don't want to have like validators or one validator like not include your transaction because oh no, I want a front to run you, right? We're gonna go into like the implications on Mysticeti about that.
Let's double click into fast because I think this is where Mysticeti fits in. Can you tell us a little bit about how Mysticeti is going to amplify Perp's trading specifically on Aftermath?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the block times are just insane. I mean, on Mysticeti, it's like 250 milliseconds worst case. So you have like 4 blocks a second just going through, right? It's just crazy. We're on testnet, by the way, and so I'm seeing this live, and it's like it's pretty crazy that it works that way. I could also say that like one thing that's good also about Sui is that you're not, from our point of view as a builder, we're not competing against other things. Like, you know, there's a new NFT drop. Like the chain won't get like congested and then like, oh, now I want to trade a perp and it gets delayed or the gas fee is too high. It's able to run like concurrently in that sense. So that gives us an assurance like, okay, we're betting on because it's a lot of work to build all this stuff on chain. So it gives it like, okay, we're on the right place, right?
Gives you the confidence that it won't fail your users in the end of the day.
No, it's very reliable so far, yeah.
I think the other practical thing that's coming to perp dexes as well is they were initially like used just for trading governance tokens, right? I think as we want to bring additional people into the space, adding new price feeds and assets like gold, copper, oil, etc., you know, gets those typical traders that are working at maybe Goldman or Morgan Stanley today, you know, onto crypto, because now they can trade, you know, assets that they're familiar with beyond just governance tokens and more speculative things. And being able to cross margin against different types of assets, I think will bring in a ton of net new users as well as additional capital.
Oh yeah.
So then staying with you, Nick, what's your current plan with growing AUSD on Sui and leveraging Mysticeti? How do we ensure that liquidity is sufficient for the builders, for the users at the end of the day?
Yeah, so it's working with a lot of institutional capital partners. So we announced about 2 weeks ago, we already have a few million of liquidity on the AMMs, but after this week, you'll see us start to roll out much more aggressively on perp dexes, continue to build that liquidity so that people feel comfortable moving out of Wormhole USDC or Sui on chain, and we're working, you know, very closely not just with institutional trading firms, but also, you know, obviously with the Mistin team and the applications teams themselves to make sure that this is a very successful launch, you know, and have like the first real institutional grade fiat coin on Sui take off. So
we're super excited about that. I'm really curious from your standpoint, both of you, because you mentioned bringing in institutional capital. That means institutional traders will also be participating. Is there a way that we can ensure there is fairness when it comes to trading perps for both institutional as well as retail users, and whether or not you guys have a perspective on how do we ensure that there is fairness and it's a fair playing field for everyone?
Yeah, I would also, I'll say on it like from a technical standpoint.
Yeah.
And that where Mysticeti comes in as well, like because Sui is a DAG and you have like multiple proposers, and also like there's like multiple leaders per round. Like round is how the blockchain advances, right? It's very hard for your transaction to be censored by just a few parties because it's not only have multiple proposers per round, but also like if anyone in the future refers to your block in the future, right? Your earlier block, you get included as well. So I would say that from a MEV standpoint, that's I think that's the best like case scenario. Like I think really like Sui with Mysticeti struck a really good environment for a fair trading experience.
Compared to other ecosystems that you've seen. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I didn't know that, so thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and low latency makes it much harder for the institutional guys to basically, come and attack retail so.
How do we think we can improve just broader user experience when it comes to trading? Not only perps, we can even talk about just regular spot assets on a decentralized exchange and leveraging stablecoins to make sure that users have the ability to come into our ecosystem easier from, let's say, maybe centralized exchanges. Any thoughts that you'd like to share?
I can connect with what Agora is doing. And what our CTO Kevin talked about in Paris last time, that we already have like dynamic gas on Aftermath.
Okay.
It's gonna be super easy to integrate that with like AUSD, so people can.
I'm gonna pause you here. What is dynamic gas?
Oh yeah, so basically, let's say you onboarded on Sui using AUSD, right? And usually on like a normal chain, you would have to but now I need Sui to transact.
Exactly.
Now you need to manage two assets. And, every time you're trading, I'm going low on gas. Now I need to swap my AUSD
into Sui in order to pay for this transaction.
But with dynamic gas, you can pay your gas with AUSD or whatever stablecoin.
Any other assets that's available to be traded on Aftermath.
Exactly. Yeah. Any asset that we whitelist, and that's thanks to something called a sponsored transaction, which is also something that's only on Sui.
Yeah. It's also, so I think there's a few things. One, so improving collateral as well. Because we share the majority of the income with the Aftermath team, for AUSD that is on Aftermath sitting as collateral, there's a lot of different things that they can use that cash flow towards, right? Yeah. And it could be user acquisition or arbitrarily reducing funding rates, which sort of gives them a competitive edge versus other chains. But we can also talk about UI and all that stuff. But I think one of the major things is actually what Sui's done at the chain level, right? Low latency is the best thing that you can possibly do to improve the trading environment. And so I think actually a lot of the stuff and the upgrades have been done at the chain level that make this just so much better than any other venue.
Amazing. I don't know whether or not you guys have comprehended the importance of dynamic gas feature. It's something when I speak to a lot of our builders and user base, they ask for that because it's a user experience aspect, right? If they want to transact with AUSD and they don't have access to Sui, now they can do that directly via Aftermath. So that's super exciting. I'm really glad that the two of you are partnering together. That's what we like to see. And so hopefully we'll be able to drive a lot of interest and excitement, and then see all of that take off. Any last minute thoughts around perpetuals and stablecoins in general?
I'd say that, for instance, having a yield-bearing stablecoin as collateral also will allow us to offset the funding rates a bit. So that will make for also a much better trading experience, right? And I guess the other bit is the gas fees on Sui are very low because, again, due to a very nice feature about Sui is storage rebates. So for instance, we have the order book on chain. When you match someone, you're basically taking off that order from the chain. So you're freeing up space. So Sui incentivizes you by giving some of your gas back. So on testnet, for instance, we've been running an automated trading, and I just noticed this almost never runs out of gas. It's
right.
Especially for market makers, that's going to be a huge deal because you got to be, placing, taking off orders, canceling.
That's a really good point. I think next time we should invite one of the market makers up here to talk about the implications of Mysticeti as well. Very, very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just lastly for me, it's getting all the large centralized exchanges, like the Bybits of the world, set up with AUSD on-ramps on a Sui, I think will just unlock a massive amount of TVL that's coming on chain, because today, most people use centralized exchanges as their on-ramp into crypto. And you're talking about dynamic gas. I think stablecoins as gas is the future, not just on Sui, but everywhere.
Yep.
And so that's the next big unlock that we're excited about.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. This was a lovely chat. I think hopefully everyone learned a little bit or learned something new, but appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions about these two projects, please do reach out to them. You'll be sticking around, yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.